Iconoclasts. I'm your host, Mike, and I'm joined by my co-host.
From the heart of my bottom and the bottom of my heart, you got Spencer Lowry on the ones and twos.
And
I'm Chris Wells. I'm here for a micro dose of knowledge and a hero dose of fuckery.
nice. So this is our official, for real this time, no shit, first debut episode altogether. Today we're going to be covering a fella by the name of Leo Taxil, or are we? You'll see. It's complicated. It's something like a Shyamalan, which means there'll be a twist at the end, so stay tuned. But, of course, first, we're going to kick things off with What's Weird This Week. So I was looking at one of those goddamn, what are they called? The conspiracy icebergs, which I had mixed feelings towards. I think they're a bit of a information gatekeeper of sorts. But there's one thing I saw on there that involves a story about a cryptid of sorts with a twist. Now, there's a famous-ish cryptid known as the Juba Fofi, I believe is how you pronounce it. It's a giant spider from the Congo. And allegedly, according to a story from Reddit and other various parts of the internets, there was a Eastern European woman, I think Serbian, but I can't be sure on that, by the name of Sabince Tomatovic, which translates to tomato sandwich, so that's how you know it's real.
So I thought it was ceviche. I thought that was...
It's like...
the fish and citrus juice.
Yeah, delicious.
It's delicious, yeah.
Yeah, her name translates to tomato sandwich, but allegedly there was a porno film made where this actress, quote unquote, had sex with one of these giant spiders called the Juba Fofi. Now, of course, this is not real. However,
I was going to say, I don't buy this.
In doing some further research on this, leave it to the good old Japanese to have us find some of the weirdest paraphilias and fetishes in the world.
Tell me they brought their fantasies to reality.
Oh, yes. There is a subgenre, fetish, paraphilia, if you will, in Japanese pornography known as ginky ginky. These are actual videos, there's plenty of them, of various varieties, that involve women in various sexual situations covered in bugs, octopoids, eels. Yeah.
I've seen the eels.
Yeah. So, unagi splatterfest.
Unfortunate.
Yeah.
Very
so, if you're interested in that sort of thing, first of all, shame on you. And second of all, look up...
Naughty.
Those women are being forced to do that stuff.
Yeah.
You gotta stop.
There's,
Well, maybe.
there's never a shortage of fucking weirdos out there.
Yeah, people are weird. People are weird.
Yeah, if
I
you're
will
interested-
yuck your young.
Yeah.
That's gross.
Sometimes it's needed. But if you're interested, GENKI-GENKI. Ginky Ginky. And that's my weirdness for the week.
All right. Would y'all like a little hint of Chris's conspiracy corner?
Lay it on
Please.
us.
All right. Well, so in our little demo, I discussed that I've been seeing a little bit of the black goo that felt like a ripoff of the X-Files for me.
The mysterious black goo.
Yeah, it was this black goo. I don't know. It pops up on the fucking on all these weird people that I follow and
Kit
glance.
Kats.
Yeah, I glance around. I see what happens, but I don't necessarily take it all in. So today I spent a whopping 30 minutes researching this, and
That's a lot for you.
it was.
Hey.
Hey, I'm a busy guy.
30
Now, you
minutes
are-
you'll never get back.
I got a lot of irons in the fire. It took
You got
me
your fingers in a lot of pies.
all the pies. And trying to get time to do this, well, you know what, I did it, and I'd heard the term graphene oxide in one of these random Instagram pages, right? And so today I was like, well, let me just Google what the fuck goddamn graphene oxide is.
Mm-hmm.
It's a real thing.
Yeah.
And in reading the scientific stuff on like one of the pages, I was like, okay, I have a very, very rudimentary knowledge of chemistry that mostly comes from my former life in the narcotics world, and that chemistry is really just to make narcotics.
Left far behind.
Yeah. So, anyway,
Way back when.
reading through all this stuff, I started seeing some of these little words that I understand in the conspiracy world make people start thumping a little bit, because it's a... First off, with graphene oxide, it's a nano composite. Nano scares people.
Yeah.
Scares. Little tiny things you can't see.
Nanobots in the vaccine.
Eggs. Are you fucking ruining the plot here, Spencer? God damn.
Oh, did I kill the lead? I'm sorry.
No,
That's been around since polio, before they even knew what a nano was.
No, because it's really this thing, I mean, reading on it, I was like, oh, okay, it's a biomedical application. It's only an atom thick, and it does manipulate human DNA. It is possible to do that, but it has a lot of biomedical applications. It helps your body absorb different medications. It helps diagnose Alzheimer's, apparently. But then they talked about biosensors. Ooh, that's like putting fake things inside your body, and that weirds out a lot of people.
Transhumanism.
Yes,
I don't
exactly.
want anyone to censor my bios.
So when I looked through the science on this was at ScienceDirect.com, and it looked legit. I don't know. I checked a couple different other pages on there, and
I'll vouch for them.
And they all pretty much sounded pretty legit with all the conspiracy buzzwords that were in there because they actually does that. It's tissue engineering and anyway.
COVID, 5G.
So then after getting what it actually was, I went ahead to the where any good conspiracy guy goes. I went to TikTok. And
thanks, China.
And
you do.
And I just put in graphene oxide into the old search bar there and got the weird little videos of this black goo dancing around that's supposedly activated by radio waves. Which, Spencer, you told me earlier when I showed you this video, this is something else called a ferrofluid that they're using and saying that it's graphene oxide.
Yeah. Technically, it is a black goo, but not the graphene.
Yeah, but yeah, it was a black goo. The graphene, I don't know. Everything, it fucking seems really expensive to produce it from what I was reading.
Yeah, not something a TikToker would just have lying around the house.
On a dinner plate.
But the whole thing is, they said it would activate by a certain frequency. I don't know. We'll have to go into the whole 440 frequency conspiracy another day. But the whole 440 frequency conspiracy on top of the 5G conspiracy, on top of vaccinations, looking at all that, I mean, it's a spicy conspiracy. And actually, when you do the real scientific reading on it, it's kind of scary. Because, I mean, fuck, I don't know about chemistry. I don't know about fucking medical science. I fucking hate doctors. They suck. I don't trust them.
They call it a practice for a reason.
Yeah,
they're
fucking butchers. I don't give a shit.
And you're a patient because you got to wait around a lot.
If you're a doctor and you're listening to this, fuck you. All right? Fuck you. But please listen. Anyway.
Like and subscribe.
Yeah, like and subscribe. I didn't go down. Oh, it does kill tumorous cells. That's what my notes say. But anyway, so
that's what the doctors say, right?
Again, conspiracy based in possible facts. This graphene oxide does seem a little. It seems a little interesting and creepy and scary because I don't understand it. Ooh.
That's why all the science-based conspiracy theories are so easy to like pick up and just run with the ball.
Because when I tried to read that, I just saw it manipulates my DNA. What?
Or it never heard of that before.
My deoxyribonucleic acid.
But as far as it dancing around looking like Flubber, or what was that other reference we made when it came to...
the Venom symbiotes or whatever?
Venom, no. There was another one. The X-Files.
I know. Oh, the black. Yeah, I know that most of the stuff they're showing on TikTok.
Flubber?
Like,
did we say Flubber?
You just did. Most of the stuff on TikTok though is like it's iron shavings with like Elmer's glue. That's what most of the people are using.
So my synopsis of the whole thing is what's the fancy word for saying it's bullshit?
There's so many good ones.
Well, it's fucking bullshit.
Yeah. Bullshit's why mess with the classics?
Anyway,
time will tell. We shall see, said the blind man.
Thanks for hearing
to his deaf
conspiracy
dog.
corner.
Said the black goo.
Yeah, it does seem like we have a lot lined up for today, though, right?
Yes, we do. We're going to be discussing Leo Taxil and the vast satanic conspiracy of Satanists. This is sort of an unofficial sequel to our demo that we did. Man, late 1800s, early 1900s France was a, let's say, hotbed of sensationalistic satanic horseshit.
It was bubbling.
Oh yeah. This is largely due in part to a lot of best-selling novels, fictional accounts that were maybe not based on truthful occurrences. One of the best-known authors of this time is a fellow by the name of J.K. Heismans, who did a lot of books that were based on, Satanism, occultism. Probably the best-known books in that category that he wrote would be labas, which means down there. Probably multiple meanings because there's a lot of salacious sexual shit going on.
Don't touch me, Labas.
Or The Devil Rides Out. A lot of these books were later made to movies by like Hammer horror films, things like that.
That sounds like a fucking AC/DC song or something.
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if they got some inspiration from these stories.
She told me to come, but I was already there.
Oh, back in Black
French.
But and a lot of these stories, because Heisman's himself, for example, hung out with a lot of occultists and defrocked priests, etc., which apparently for a lot of satanic rituals you have to have. And no, it doesn't mean a naked priest. It means they've been excommunicated from the church. But yeah, there were supposedly bits and pieces of actual shit that supposedly happened in his stories. So people were having a tough time sort of differentiating what's real and what's not with a lot of these stories. But they were all the rage. It was basically the equivalent of, every Jerry Springer tabloid, Weekly World News, all that shit kind of combined at the same time. And it created this sort of milieu, since we're in France, I'll use that word.
We're actually in Texas.
Milieu.
Radio magic.
We're definitely in a bunker.
It's actually my living room.
But,
Bunker.
But yeah, so a lot of these books are coming out, and it's creating this need and want for more stories like this. People are eating it up like crazy. And there is a book that comes out. I have the French name. It is Le Diable au 19e siècle, which I believe is the devil. What was it called? The devil
in the 19th century.
Okay, yeah. And this was by a man named Dr. Bataille, a.k.a. Charles Hex, a man who may or may not have been a ship captain who claims to have traveled the world, and he sort of stumbled into, more or less, all these various vast satanic conspiracies around the world that were all connected into one thing.
His motto's been there, done that.
Yeah,
this guy.
Got the t-shirt and the butt plug. So he claimed to tell all these different groups and people that he was like sort of peeping in on their weird satanic rituals, that he himself was an adherent of the Dark Lord, and that's all you had to do apparently to get let into the secret ceremonies. Like, yeah, I'm totally into Satan. I'll come. So
Posers.
Yeah. He claimed to have witnessed firsthand that Satan was being worshipped around the world, and that satanic worship was more widespread than ever. He also claimed that Buddhists, Hindus, spiritualists, and Freemasons were also secretly organizing in the name of Satan to take down the Catholic Church, and it was all very popular. One of the stories that this Dr. Bataille related, apparently, he claims that he witnessed a satanic ceremony where a priest in Egyptian garb, wearing like an Anubis headdress or some shit, performed a wedding ceremony between two costumed monkeys, and then afterwards allegedly washed his hands in molten lead while reciting satanic prayers. Take that, society.
The monkey wedding part is...
It's cute.
I was telling the guys earlier, I was washing dishes and listening to a book on tape about this type of thing. Yeah. And, I was kind of half in, half out. And then the phrase monkey wedding just stood out to me. And that was actually one of the things I wrote in my notes with no context whatsoever.
How could anyone, I don't know, see anything negative or evil about a monkey wedding?
I actually looked up a picture earlier and it was adorable.
It was adorable. I saw it.
Okay, one of the cool things that I picked out that Dr. Bataille wrote about was the Arcula Mystica. Arcula Mystica translates basically in mystical chest or mystical box.
A mystical chest and a mystical box.
That was too easy.
Dr. Bataille alleged that it was a small cabinet, similar to like a small liquor cabinet, that opened up to reveal a silver toad, a trumpet-shaped microphone, a bell-shaped earpiece, and some gold statuettes representing the 7 centers of the Palladium cult, which were Charleston, South Carolina, Rome, Berlin, Washington, D.C., Montevideo, Naples, and Calcutta. Now, this was basically used as a telecommunication device.
Weird.
Way before, in between the 7 centers of the Palladium Rite, which was the secret organization within the
Freemasons.
And it was basically like, a giant cell phone. But if you wanted to use it to communicate, you had to press on one of the statuettes depending on who you wanted to call.
Yeah.
And on the other end, through the trumpet, fire would come out. I mean, through the toad. And then they use the trumpet on their ear, and then the mouthpiece.
Did
and
they say
could
whether
communicate.
it's supposed to be like a live toad?
No, it's
Or
a
like
silver toad.
Okay.
It's a silver toad like a statuette.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking Little Rascals with the can and the little string that goes. And
Yeah,
shit.
or like the Berenstein Bears. They had that too in the treehouse.
Is it Berenstein Bears or Bernstein Bears?
Barenstein. Please.
So they were Jewish?
The Rammstein Bears.
Hey, you said it.
I didn't say it. Wait a minute, I did say it.
Yeah, I always love hearing about like the weird like occult technology stuff like that because it's always very I don't know. It makes me think of all the like sort of Tesla conspiracies about how technology could be totally different. But yeah, there's something similar with the stories of a guy named Franz Barden and something called the Tepophone, which we may cover him one day as well. But yes, Dr. Bataille, by falsely claiming allegiance to Satanism, he was supposedly granted access to these vast international inner circles of the Satanic conspiracy, which he later claimed was run by a Masonic network, as Spencer mentioned, directed out of Charleston, South Carolina, because, of course, Charleston, South Carolina would be the worldwide headquarters of a vast Satanic conspiracy.
That's gotta
Why
be the
would it
episode.
not?
Yeah, and this vast Satanic conspiracy, known as the Palladium, was headed by none other than the infamous Masonic, head honcho, Albert Pike, the author of Morals and Dogma, and alleged founder of the KKK, but I don't think that's a founded...
I didn't actually hear that one.
I've heard him associated with the KKK, but I've also heard that the guy that Forrest Gump was named after was the real founder.
Well, it gets mucky as far as who started the KKK.
Yeah,
but his name is in the hat.
I mean, a group of white guys gets together, they're all like, let's...
Anonymous
Confederate Army
cowards.
General.
Hey, he was a Confederate Army general.
Yeah, that part is definitely true.
Was he a member? Probably.
Not
Unofficial.
only am I a racist, I'm also the leader. Wait.
No.
So,
Hair Club for Men?
yeah.
He was considered the
You're gonna like the way you look.
the anti-pope of
Yeah, that's Men's
the
Warehouse.
newly formed Palladian Order.
I'm all over the place.
Yeah.
Pike was
Pike
considered. Okay. This book had come out and it kind of helped sort of fan the flames further because allegedly these were all true accounts and this is what people were really clamoring for at this time. And from this point on, you have a gentleman who shows up on the scene who goes by the name of Leo Taxil. Taxil was born in Provence in about 1854. The dates are a little murky on that. His father was a dickhead and his mother was very tired. Throughout his early years, he was almost exclusively educated by the Jesuits, conspiracy alert. In 1867, he attended the Jesuit College of St. Louis, or Louis. Your mileage may vary depending on
French.
whether you're
It's
in
French.
Yeah. It was there that he first encountered Freemasonry. He devoured various books on the subject, and in this task was stymied at nearly every turn by his clergy-affiliated educators, making this essentially forbidden information and thus only intensifying his interest in the subject. At around 14 years old, he raised quite a stink by telling his confessor he denounced his religion and had become a self-declared free thinker. The horror.
I liked it. But
Heaven forbid.
reading this, it made me also, like, how fucking fucked up would that be? You're just raised by these... who today are known as just super elite, weird, the Jesuits, that is.
Yeah. They're like, there's so much conspiracy shit
It's like
around them.
we talk about Catholic school, but Jesuit school? Don't we have one of these down the street, actually?
Yeah, there's two main ones here. Like, there's the Ursuline Academy for girls, and then there's, I don't remember the one for boys, but I used to have a roommate who went there, and the Jesuits are very deeply entrenched in all kinds of conspiracy literature. Depending on your source, they're, freedom fighters or the root of all evil. Mostly the latter. But yeah, Taxil, his activities would sort of, his interest in all this literature kind of fed into his later life, and he would later become a journalist as early as grade school by starting a newspaper called Le Type, which was immediately frowned upon by the school's faculty. and was canceled during his absence with typhoid fever. Like, they just waited for him to be gone. It was like, let's fucking put the kibosh on that shit.
Was he playing Oregon Trail?
This Sudoku is sinful. After his recovery, he decided to drop out of school and then backpack and bullshit around Italy with his brother, which at the time, Italy was a hotbed of various revolutionary politics and ideas.
It was all happening.
In which they both became greatly immersed. However, this would not last long, as they were both soon arrested by the gendarmes, I believe they're called, and returned to France, where their dickhead father had a shit fit, and Taxil would end up in a juvenile correction center. It was there that his experiences were basically all horrible, as this was also, I don't know if it was Jesuit run, but it was definitely, clergy run.
I mean, I guess everything back in that time period, pretty much everything was ran by even all politicians, especially back then. All institutions had
especially academic,
a very severe religious influence and doctrine going on.
It was there that he was sort of instilled with a lifelong hatred of both his father and the church. I couldn't find any elucidation on what his father did, but I think his father did have some affiliation with the church as well.
So he's got Sky Daddy and Daddy issues?
Yeah, double daddy issues.
Damn.
Double down on the daddy issues. After this, he spent a brief stint in secondary school until the breakout of the Franco-Prussian War. Let's see, he served in Algeria. The immediate cause of the Franco-Prussian War was the candidacy of Prince Leopold of Hohenzollern-Sigmaringen for the Spanish throne, which raised the possibility of a combination of Prussia and Spain against France. So
I want to try that. I want to give a go at that myself. Hohenzollern Sigmaringen.
Perfect.
All right.
You say that almost too well.
Yeah.
After returning from the war while serving in Algeria, he began to work for two new popular and extremely violent anti-clerical publications started in Marseille. I believe that's how you say it.
Yes.
He became editor of one known as La Marotte and a regular contributor to another called L'Égalité. Later, he'd take over as editor of another called Le Frondeur, which sounds like a cheese bowl.
All this shit sounds like porno to me.
Or cheese. Porno or cheese.
Porno, cheese, whatever.
There's a lot of overlap.
This is what I think of the French. I don't know a lot.
Porn and cheese.
You got the broad strokes, right?
I got the broad strokes all right.
Fromage and fucking.
You dirty dog.
Let's see, after becoming editor of Le Frondeur and raising its circulation to roughly 30,000, he left to form his own exclusively anti-clerical fuck the church journal known as Abbas la Calotte. Not long after this, however, he'd be involved in a very publicized heel-face turn, or perhaps it's a face-heel turn, depending on where your allegiances lie, in regards to his views on the church. After being initiated as a Freemason in 1881, he soon not only left Freemasonry, but also really began to stew on that shit and become a bit of a pouty fuck about it. No one really knows what it was that set him off specifically, but he had a very bad breakup with the Freemasons. It was not long after that he announced his reconciliation with the Catholic Church, and in 1887 released a book titled The Confessions of an Ex-Free Thinker. A title that anyone with even a modicum of smarts would instantly see is a bit of an ever so subtle backhand bitch slap to the church, if you're not into that whole free thinking thing.
Yeah, no free thinking. So, how old is he about this time?
I think this is going to be early to mid-20s by now.
Okay.
So, let's see. It would be during the very same year of publication of the Confessions of an Ex-Free Thinker that he would receive an audience with the Pope Leo XIII. I don't know why they have to dress it up all fancy like that, but
I'm going to start addressing everybody as having an audience with me when they talk to me.
When you hold court?
Yeah, when I hold court, I will grant you an audience.
I'm lording. Let's see. Yeah, so he was given an audience with Pope Leo XIII, and seeing the former Catholic polemicist Taxil as a potentially valuable new ally in the arising conflict against the ever-growing popularity of Freemasonry, the church, however, had no idea that they were only setting themselves up to ultimately be hoodwinked and bamboozled. Secretly, Taxil was weaving an intricate Charlotte's web that simply read, "Fuck you." Stories soon began surfacing of a reformed Satanist named Diana Vaughn.
When you say the stories began surfacing, where were they surfacing?
There weren't book publications, but at this time, you had a lot of like journals and I guess the equivalent of zines, basically.
Yeah, I guess everybody like fucking put out a zine back then. Like,
yeah.
Printing presses were abound. Yeah, because we're in the late 1800s, so like shit's post-industrial, post-industrial revolution time.
And that's, that's...
or is that in the industrial... That's in the industrial revolution, right?
About the same time.
Yeah, about the same time.
So, basically, anything that you can read, that's like your, that's all the media right there. So, but yeah, and not only that, but there was sort of word on the street kind of stuff going on as well about this Diana Vaughn woman.
Passing around the pubs, or what do they call bars in France?
La pute?
I think that's right.
All right.
That, Miss Vaughn, is one piece of ace.
Diana Vaughn would eventually surpass in popularity Dr. Bataille and even Leo Taxil. She was
Leo Taxil.
I've been doing that all week.
Fucking goddamn antidepressants.
She was a half French, half American, self-proclaimed wife of the demon Asmodeus. Asmodeus.
Asmodeus.
Yeah, and she would go
Demon of
ahead
lust.
to confirm the stories about the Palladian rites. She was a young, attractive woman. She was allegedly so pretty that people had a hard time believing that she was the wife of a demon and a convinced Satanist.
Right.
I mean, the hot ones are always a little crazy, right?
This is when you also... I mean, I know that from listening to history podcasts that this is a time also when there's like ugly laws and shit. So people are like...
Ugly laws?
Yeah, it was a thing. There's people convinced that if you're an attractive person, you can do no wrong, basically. So that kind of like fed
And plus, the level of attractiveness back then is like being the prettiest Denny's waitress. Just because you're the best, doesn't mean you're all that good.
Damn, I wish it was still like that. I wouldn't have so many goddamn felonies under my belt.
I would have done good back then. Not good, but not bad either.
Right.
She would eventually... Miss Vaughn would actually decide to give up and convert back to Catholicism, where she would release a memoir where she told all of the secrets of the Palladian rites and satanic rituals within the Freemasons in a memoir called Memoirs of an Ex-Palladist. She held exclusive interviews while being held in a private convent where no one knew where she was. No one knew how to get there. But the letters came out.
Yeah.
She also wrote Eukaryotic Novena, which is a book of prayers that she wrote after she converted to Catholicism.
Do we got the translation on that?
Eukaryotic Novena?
I know the Eucharist is when they eat the Jesus.
It's basically a story of the Eucharist.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what she called it.
That sounds
And it was
right.
a book of prayers that she wrote. This ended up really impressing the big wigs in the church. They were all proud, and she became kind of like a poster child for reforming even the worst. The worst of the worst in Satanism. And she would really just dole out story after story and interview after interview from this convent she was being held for her own protection, where nobody knew where it was. Nobody knew how to get to her. But the letters kept coming in.
Yes. Something seems amiss about this.
Yeah. Yes, it was for her own protection, as she was apparently, since she's writing these tell-alls and turning around and revealing the secrets.
The Freemasons would have killed her if they knew what she was up to.
And throughout most of this episode, as far as, the masses are concerned, the words Satanist and Freemason are pretty much interchangeable, just to clear up any possible confusion anyone might have. Yes, this Diana Vaughn woman, she had quite the occult pedigree as well. Not only was she, initiated into these various alleged satanic groups, but she was a descendant of the... What time was this? I believe it's 17th century Rosicrucian alchemist and mystic Thomas Vaughan, a man who allegedly dedicated his entire life to overthrowing the papacy, and he had signed a pact with the devil. Supposedly during a stay with a Native American tribe during his travels, he was visited by the goddess Venus Astarte, which I guess is a combination of two goddesses, and during this encounter, they make it a baby. This baby was basically left on the doorstep of his guest teepee, and it came after, like...
Guest teepee?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I just read that, and I'm like, guest teepee?
Wherever you stay when you stay with
I guess it's
Native Americans.
I guess it's a
Not
guest.
the main teepee,
Yeah.
but the guest.
That's out by the pool.
That's the longhouse.
Across the courtyard.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this baby also showed up only 11 days after their human goddess coupling. Now, this baby itself wasn't Diana Vaughan, but this baby was a female who would go on to marry the chief of the tribe, and they would have a child, which was a boy, and this boy would go on to be the grandfather, I believe, of Diana Vaughan. So, allegedly, she also has, divine blood to a degree. Whichever way, that's the story that is, attached to this woman. And I think that's also a lot of why the church was like, oh man, if we can get a half pagan goddess or whatever the watered down degree is by that time on their side, well, that would be a PR coup. One of the reasons that Diana Vaughan renounced Satanism is because she stringently considered herself a Luciferian and not a Satanist. Apparently, there's quite a difference. It sounds mostly like, splitting hairs to me, but apparently there was a huge difference. And let me see here.
It seems like if you make things up, there are no rules.
Exactly. You can just do it willy-nilly. Diana Vaughan promised her hand in marriage to the demon Asmodeus, as Spencer mentioned, and on her 25th birthday, on April 8th, 1889, which is an exact date, so you know it's true, she was officially presented to her fiancé, the demon Asmodeus, in the Masonic Temple in Charleston, South Carolina, all on the orders of Lucifer, of course. Asmodeus, all on the orders of Lucifer, this wedding was supposed to take place. And Asmodeus appeared on a diamond-studded throne and told Albert Pike, who was sort of officiating this wedding to a degree, that Asmodeus basically said, yo, this is my lady, she's in charge now for all intents and purposes, her word is my word. Which then sort of was relayed amongst the 7 Paladinist groups in the Palladium. Vaughn's eventual split from the group was due to some catty bullshit betwixt her and a woman named Sophia Walder, who was a highly venerated woman within the group due to being the
grandmother of the the great grandmother of the Antichrist,
or, yeah,
also known
or
as
eventual great brother.
Also known as Sophia Sappho. That's the same one we were talking about.
Yes,
earlier.
okay.
Yeah. It was like an AKA. Sophia Sappho was known as an ardent lesbian Templar mistress. She was basically horny for sacrilege. She was like the main bee in the whole scene until Diana came along, which is what led to their trouble that they had.
The fun thing that I saw today was that when they talked about this, the timing would be that Antichrist, that great-great-grandson Antichrist, would be in their 60s about now, which is about the time...
They were supposed to be born in 1962.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they would be in their 60s, which is when all these rich and powerful people are usually in their prime, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And most U.S. senators
Yeah,
are also in their
exactly.
60s. So,
the most powerful
old
people
people
are fucking way too old to be fucking powerful.
I almost wanted to look into an aside of what was Jack Parsons' crazy woman's name? Marjorie Cameron?
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, I think that was it. Like, she ended up having a kid at some point. I don't know when, though, but I was almost tempted to look into an aside. But for reasons that will be revealed sooner or later, you'll see that that was not necessary. So yeah, Vaughn split with the Palladium, and she formed her own Luciferian group in England, and soon began publishing journals of her life story, which was what helped also sort of build her popularity and let people know who she was. And as soon as and she also included in these journals quite a bit of the sort of rituals and belief system behind this group. This was included in a book. And this is weird because the group was based out of England, I believe, yet the publication was the suspiciously French titled Luciferiens Indépendants et Régionaux. And we found some, I guess, recreations or, chroniclings of the rituals included, and I'm going to hand that off to you.
So this woman did all this by 25? She's around 25 around this.
She was married to a demon by 25. I would say that by the time she's like publishing all these books and is becoming popular amongst like French high society, etc., she's probably, I would say, late 20s, early 30s.
Man, I was still on people's couches around then.
Yeah, I was not doing well at that age.
So yeah, like we were saying, Diana Vaughn in her writing included a lot of these so-called alleged, supposed rituals and goings-on during some of these satanic meetings and rituals, etc. Our main source, by the way, is Eliphas Levi and the French Occult Revival by Christopher McIntosh. No relation, at least I don't think. And that includes quite a bit of excerpts from the works of Diana Vaughn, including this one.
The doctrine of the new sect, as outlined in the journal, was as follows. There are two supreme beings who struggle for supremacy. Lucifer, the principle of intelligence and light, and Adonai. Did I say that right?
I think it's Adonai.
Adonai? I'm going to call him Adonai.
I think it's Adonai, like Moroni.
Maybe. I've only ever seen
the
it
Mormons?
written.
Yeah, we'll deal with the Mormons
Or
later.
are they Mormons?
And Adonai,
Mormonite.
the principle of matter and death. Adonai is the creator of man's physical body, while Lucifer gives him his intelligence and power of reproduction. The soul is an emancipation of Lucifer, which Adonai seeks constantly to seduce. Most of the universe is emancipated from the rule of Adonai, but the Earth and a planet called Ulis? Ulis?
What you talking about, Ulis?
Are still under his... Anyway,
I think it is Willis, yeah.
The Earth and Ulis are still under his sway. The principal angels of Lucifer, who is the true God, are Moloch. Ooh, that's a trigger word for all them fucking Q people. Beelzebub.
Hey.
Asmodeus.
I remember him.
Antichrist.
Okay.
That
That seems a little bit
Yeah,
generic.
That's generic as fuck. Astarte, which sounds like an artificial sweetener. And Leviathan and Behemoth. Good metal band.
Behemoth.
They are of two sexes. Those are Adonai, who are sexless and... Oh, you forgot a space in that.
Oops, my bad.
Sexless and...
Sexless and...
are called
Sexless and...
Micahs?
No clue. My...
Micahs. Anyway.
Yeah.
The sexless ones are Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, and Ariel. Not Ariel, Uriel.
Turtle
It's just
power.
smooth like a Kindle.
Yeah. Another of Adonai's servants who is particularly malevolent and very powerful is the Holy Virgin, called Mirzam by the Palladianists. Jesus, son of Mirzam, had originally had good qualities, but pride had caused him to betray the true God. In the year 1995, Miss Vaughn's doctrine states, the Antichrist will appear, and the Pope, a converted Jew, will abandon Catholicism and swear allegiance to Lucifer. The event will be followed by a year of war, in which the Catholics will be exterminated. Then will come a celestial struggle between the two powers, resulting in a victory for Lucifer, yay, and a banishing of the defeated ones to the planet Saturn. Ooh,
Whoa.
Saturn.
There's another connection.
Saturnalia. Saturn. The black,
Celestial,
the
like
black
Asian?
cube Saturn death cult.
It had multiple meanings.
Anyway,
That might be important. Like, we'll write it down for later.
It was amidst the release of these blasphemous tracks that Christian sentiment was increasingly being whipped into a frothy-mouthed frenzy for this Diana Vaughn to renounce her wicked ways and come into the fold. Then, almost as if by coincidence, it would be after just a mere 3 volumes of Diana Vaughn's journals that publication would cease and soon be replaced by her new set of memoirs detailing the split with this newer group of hers and her eventual reconversion, or conversion, I guess, to Catholicism. These memoirs were later released together in a best-selling book form which contained further sensationalistic claims of rituals that had allegedly taken place. Once again, from Eliphas Levi and the French Occult Revival.
one account of a Palladium mass, it describes a ceremony.
Sarah Monkey. That's the new band name, Sarah Monkey.
You're thinking of the Sarah Monkey from earlier.
Okay, my reading. It describes a ceremony presided over by a magus. That sounds gross. On whose chasuble? All right, we'll have to look that one up. I don't know that word. Magus, whose chasuble is embroidered in red, the image of a crucifix upside down. His choir boy is an old Jew who wears a devil's tail attached to his rear. An assistant priest and a priestess are also in attendance.
Picture like a shitty old-timey Halloween costume.
Yeah, this ritual sounds pretty corny on the cool. All right. The mass begins when the magus faces the altar dedicated to Baphomet and says, "Most holy Palladium, pledge of victory, though you come all our hopes." Yep. Oh. The liturgy then continues as follows, and this is as a
Jewish choir boy.
Brothers and sisters, the Palladium protects us against the Malekas.
Officiating Magus.
Though you come all our hope, it is our Lord God Satan who has established you among us.
Jewish choir boy.
All of us, in our hearts, give thanks to us, Lord God Satan.
Officiating Magus.
It is our Lord God Satan who has established you among us. You are the magic symbol of him who we call the great architect of the universe and the father of the temple who is peace for all.
Jewish choir boy.
Glory to the Palladium!
Glory to the Palladium!
The responses continue in this vein for some time. Then the assistant priest brings forward a plate covered with freshly cut herbs, and the scythe has cut the herbs, says the officiating magus. Officiating magus.
It continues, so we cut off the heads of the ministers of Adoni, until the day of glory of our Lord God Satan. The assistant priest places the plate on the ground and lies down with his head close to it. The officiating magus then continues, "Herbs of the prairie, Satan, the Most High, will give you eternal life. Good demons of our Lord God Satan, into these herbs. Michael, Gabriel, and Raphael, and other Ninja Turtles. If you are here, flee away. I drive you hence, Sarah Crom. Oh, if you are here, flee away. I drive you hence. Lilith, if you are here, flee away." That's weird, because I thought she was, like, cool to have around.
Yeah, and who's Sarah Crom?
I've never heard of Sarah Crom.
What? You didn't put us notes on these other names here?
We can look that up here.
We're going to look this up.
I drive you hence. Good demons, welcome. Enter into these herbs. Barim, Pella, Golgo. My brothers and sisters, take part in the banquet. Then the assistant priest, still lying down, eats a large portion of the herbs. Then he rises and passes the plate around the congregation, each of whom takes a pinch.
Did they pass that Dutchie to the left-hand side, or what?
That's what it sounds like.
That sure sounds that way.
Each of whom takes a pinch. After this parody of the communion, various other obscenities follow, including the crushing of a spider against a host. The ceremony also included the reading of a letter from Julian the Apostate, which had been dictated by the emperor when he was evoked in a previous ceremony.
This ceremony, I mean, I guess it's cool. It sounds a little silly.
Yeah. Sounds like they're invoking some Transformers,
and the
Ninja
Turtles.
There's just all kinds of...
It's a little D&D.
And why would you slap a spider on the host?
Yeah.
He's the one hosting the whole damn thing. He probably put out snacks for this fucking ritual.
Maybe it's a mistranslation, and it's like the spider being pressed into the host.
I think the host,
Like
it means the Jesus cracker.
Oh.
Not like, hey, I'm going to be the head of your satanic ritual tonight.
Not the guy whose house they're using for the fuck.
No.
Okay, well, excuse the fuck out of me.
But still, they shouldn't crush a spider on a Jesus cracker. That's
They
bad
shouldn't
for
do
the
that
spider.
either. Well, it's protein, I guess, but you know what? Now they're going to have mites and fucking flies.
Yeah, excuse me, Subway, do you guys make a foot-long spider Jesus cracker sandwich? There were, of course, numerous skeptics at the time who entirely doubted the validity of Taxil's claims and that this Diana Vaughn even existed in the first place, and often asked for proof of her conversion, largely in the form of the name of her godfather and mother, as well as that of the church's officiating priest over the ceremony. This, however, was all explained away with a wave of the hand by simply explaining that not only was Vaughn's life in danger, but also her very soul. And as now her satanic enemies existed within the secret offices and highest echelons of both the occult realms as well as everyday secular officialdom, and they were skulking about at every turn.
She's very self-important, isn't she?
Gonna get this Diana Vaughn bride.
She's got a
narcissist kind of bitch.
big target on her back. Lots of people aiming at her.
Not only would Taxil not risk her safety so flagrantly, but the church was increasingly placing more and more importance upon Vaughn as their potential new ally. The previously mentioned Dr. Bataille, or Hacks, as his other pen name was known, I believe.
How appropriate.
Yeah. In some rare few instances, even as himself, not only basking in the glory of all the media attention he was receiving, but also was out there sowing more doubts about the existence of Diana Vaughn as well. All of which, more or less, was part of the final step in his plan.
Doubting the existence, were there not people? I mean, there were people vouching for this woman's existence, were there not?
Yes, there were. There were plenty of people who were totally buying into her existence, who knew she was real, who were certain 100%.
Like
there
God.
There was, yeah, exactly like God.
God's law.
One of y'all mentioned A.E. Waite. Was that you?
That was me. That was a name that came up because when I was looking into this, there was somebody that was refuting Taxil's claims and said that he's full of shit.
Yeah. A.E. Waite was a famous British occultist. Like, he was tangential to Crowley and like the Golden Dawn and a lot of
But
those
it seemed
people.
like Taxil was just stacking up fucking enemies everywhere. He was pissing a lot of people off.
Oh, yeah.
He was a troll shit poster. Fucking, like, he wrote a bunch of fucking shit, and that pissed people off.
Yep. He's revealing the secrets of the Satanists and the Masons, and the Catholics are just eating that shit up.
And like a troll, he was at home, fucking sitting around behind his desk, just fucking stroking himself, enjoying it.
As demands that Taxil physically produce this Diana Vaughn to the public, demands for her to appear in public, finally grew to their ultimate fever pitch. An announcement was made that she would finally appear in public on April 19th, 1897 in the Geographical Society's lecture hall on the Boulevard Saint-Germain. Conspiracy alert. I don't know if Saint-Germain was necessarily... I don't know if that was a specific chosen thing, but the Comte de Saint-Germain is a notorious figure all throughout Masonic lore, occult lore, etc.
Wait, what year was Hitler born? Was this the day before Hitler was born?
Oh, wait, you know what?
Oh, shit.
Maybe.
What year?
That's the thing. It says 1897 on this paper I'm looking at.
See, the lecture hall was overflowing with Catholics, Freemasons, and journalists as Taxil took to the stage and said, and I will give the speech here in just a minute, but let's find out on this Hitler thing. What was his birthday?
Okay, he was actually born 2 years later.
Oh, okay.
4/20/1889. So it was real close.
Yeah.
It was real close.
Almost had a whole nother...
All this witchery and spells going around and fucking rituals. Seems like they conjured something up, didn't they?
Almost had a whole other dimension to this story.
Yeah.
So yeah, Taxil shows up in front of this crowd of Catholics and Freemasons who are all just fucking like, what the fuck's going on? And he takes to the stage and delivers this speech. Reverend Fathers, ladies and gentlemen, I must first of all offer my thanks to my colleagues and to the Catholic press who have given support to my campaign during the past 12 years.
Catholic press.
I know,
they got the big stupid hats, but with the little, the little placard card on them?
Let's see. But now, in addressing myself to you, I must confess that campaign is something quite different from what you supposed it to be. When Dr. Bataille published Le Diable ou de Neuvième Siècle...
Great pronunciation.
Thank you. I'm just going to say the devil in the... What was it?
19th century.
Devil in a blue dress?
You believed him to be devoted to the Catholic cause, and you believed that he was uncovering the dark secrets of Masonry. You thoroughly approved of that. Now, I have to tell you that Dr. Bataille is no Catholic, but on the contrary, a free thinker who, not out of any malice, but for his own personal satisfaction, wrote this to see if he could deceive you. I know this because Bataille is an old school friend of mine, and I inspired him to do it. It was really I who composed and constructed this book.
What?
And now a word about Diana Vaughn. I could have produced her before you today, but... for reasons which I hope to make clear presently, I have not done so. She is my secretary. That is of no importance, but it is important that she is not a Catholic either, but a Protestant so far as she has any religion at all.
Oof.
We three, that's right in the stinker. We three have cooperated to produce what I like to call this mystification. They say that in the art of cookery, the good roaster of meat is born and not made. True. And so it is with practical joking. It is in my blood. I was born like that. If one were to succeed in a plan of this kind, it was at first absolutely necessary not to confide in anyone. Even my wife was ignorant of what I was really doing. When I repudiated my anti-clerical writings, I had to be very careful. The Anti-Clerical League, which I founded, expelled me on July 27, 1885 for infamous conduct and treason against the society.
He got kicked out of his own club that he started?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Apparently.
Well, goddamn, man, I'd be pissed.
And some of this will be a little bit clearer in just a second here.
All right.
Let's see. I accept it all, but for the word traitor. I asked them to strike that out, and I said, you do not understand what I am saying now, but you will understand later. Of course, I had to put up with a good deal. They said that, under cover of attending the Anti-Clerical Congress at Rome, which I had organized, I was secretly received at the Vatican and bribed with 1,000,000 francs to turn against the anti-clericals. This was absolutely untrue. Yeah. My friend, Dr. Baudon, is here this evening, I believe. He was with me all the time, and I was in Italy, and knows that I never visited the Vatican. And he also knows that I saw much of General Kenzio Garibaldi, son-in-law of the great Garibaldi, and was loyal to the anti-clericals and the Republicans. A good many of my friends think I am mad, but none of them thinks of me as a traitor. They know, in a way, that I really am with them. If Dr. Baudon is in the room now, I am going to ask him if that is how they talk about me. Apparently, a number of voices shout, "It is true, it is true."
I felt like that line makes me think of the when you're doing a summoning around the Ouija board or whatever, and you're like, if they're in the room right now, can they make a noise? And then,
okay,
it is true, it is true.
It's true.
And now I come to the mystification itself. I had to be converted like Saul on the road to Damascus. I convinced a very worthy priest, a simple soul, about this, and afterwards a Jesuit who was formerly a military almoner and was much more difficult proposition. He told me to practice the spiritual exercises of St. Ignatius. I knew nothing about them, but I had to study them so as to make the right impression. All this happened after I had written my book on Freemasonry. There was no mystification about that. I think Masonry is indebted to me for the service I did in publishing the rituals. It seems to me that enlightened Freemasons must find all that hocus-pocus ridiculous and would be glad to see it suppressed. This is, by the way, and we must return to the facts. After my conversion, I found that there was a large number of Catholics who thought that the title Great Architect of the Universe was just a polite substitute for Lucifer, Satan, or the devil. They linked it all up with spiritualism and said that Satan used to appear at the lodges and preside at the meetings. It is all very well to say that I imposed upon the credulousness of these people. They forced me into it. Do you know that there was a canon of Fribourg who came to me at the time of my conversion and said, Monsieur Taxil, you are a saint. God has drawn you out of so deep an abyss that you are overflowing with grace. I get that sometimes. When I heard of your conversion, I immediately took the train to come and see you. When I return, I want to be able to say not only that I have seen you, but that you have worked a miracle before me. I said I did not understand and I could not do that. He ignored that. Yes, he said, a miracle. Any kind of miracle you like. For instance, change this chair into a walking stick or umbrella. I told him as gently as possible that I could not do things like that, but I could see from his face that he did not believe me. I sent him back to Fribourg firmly believing that it was only on account of my humility that I had not obliged him. Later, he sent me a great Gruyere cheese.
Oh, man, that shit is
delicious.
so good.
With a pious inscription and mystic hieroglyphs engraved on the rind with a knife.
Ooh.
It was an excellent cheese, and I ate it with a feeling of great respect and genuine gratitude.
All
to
right,
the
I'm
giver.
engraving all my cheese with hieroglyphics. Hieroglyphic cheeses.
I got you this Egyptian cheese.
Oh, I'm gonna have to do that for my lady.
Like a butter
let's see.
sculpture.
She likes the cheeses.
It was not quite like that at Rome, but even there, Cardinal Parocchi congratulated me on account of my profound knowledge of the satanic character of the Masonic rituals, although I had been nothing more than an apprentice Freemason. The Holy Father also told me that he had read all my writings on Freemasonry, and that they confirmed all the evidence from other quarters concerning its satanic character. At this stage, I realized that I must have assistance because the work was too much for one man. I approached an old school friend, and he agreed to cooperate.
I think it's old school friend, not old school friend.
Oh, yeah. You know
Thank
what?
you.
Yeah,
Old
Thank
school,
you,
new
yeah,
school.
You're right.
Yeah.
Old school friend.
Man, me and this dude been kicking it since back in the day.
Old school.
He had been a ship's doctor and was very interested in spiritualism. Also, he had seen some very odd things on his travels. It was not difficult to convince him about the Satanism of the Palladium, and it was all the easier because Monsignor Murin, Bishop of Port Louis, who is a great student of archaeology, was himself thoroughly convinced about the matter. I do not think that Bataille believes in the phenomena himself, but he was quite willing to accept the idea that there were a number of people who did, and who behaved as if they did. That is how the Devil in the 19th Century came to be written. I conceived and inspired the whole thing. It was based upon my earlier works on Freemasonry, but it was written up and expanded so as to appeal to a much wider public.
Hold up.
Mm-hmm.
So he's saying he just made this shit up.
Yep. Yeah.
So all this shit,
Cooked it
Yeah.
all up.
all this shit.
Yeah.
Continue.
Pretty sure. Well, yeah. Here, we'll let me see where. Okay. Because of what I had said in my earlier work concerning the feminine cult of Freemasonry, this had to be developed too.
He just called them bitches.
That was the reason for the introduction of Diana Vaughn. As I said before, Diana Vaughn actually exists, but from what I have already said, it will be evident that no purpose could have been served by my producing her before you. Miss Vaughn thoroughly entered into the spirit of this mystification, too. It was vastly entertaining to her, and in fact, the amusement she got out of it has been her sole reward. The young lady is French, but it is untrue that her family are of American extraction. She is highly intelligent and very well educated, and her religious traditions are Lutheran or Calvinist. Tisk, tisk. I think that this is what made her so ready to help in the staging of my little comedy. She was not all averse to taking a rise out of the Catholics. Miss Vaughn was my secretary, and I put it to her when I first suggested that she should cooperate.
You put it to her?
I mean,
The
it's
question, the job.
Yes.
Okay, he didn't put it to her.
I don't know,
phrase.
because people have been putting it to secretaries for a long time.
I bet he put it to her.
You watched fucking Mad Men. You know what happens to the secretaries.
Put it to her good.
Yeah.
The idea itself appealed to her so strongly and stimulated her sense of humor. I was tricking you. I was baiting you guys.
Yeah.
She thoroughly enjoyed being
You mean not her clitoris?
She thoroughly enjoyed being the high priestess of Lucifer and the chief inspector of the Palladium.
I mean, duh.
It was amusing to be photographed in semi-masculine costume wearing the sash of the order. She did not, of course, write the Confessions of an Ex-Palladist. I was the author of that, but I could not have done it so successfully without her inspiration. The work had to have the authentic feminine touch which it would have lacked if I had not had the advantage of her help and guidance. And there was also the correspondence with the clergy and her other supporters. She composed the letters herself and wrote them with her own hand. It is a very lively correspondence. I am sure all will agree with those who have been favored with a letter from Miss Vaughn, or as all those who have been favored with a letter from Miss Vaughn will agree. Her instinctive taste for intrigue and mystification was also very useful. I should have found it very difficult to arrange that this correspondence should always come from the right places at the right times. Which, goddamn, I guess you would have to, go to the specific mailbox where you would need it to look like it came from back in the day.
Like a postmark, yeah.
Yeah. Let's see.
It was
a complicated matter, and she arranged it most artistically. Although there are some who will not do so, I hope there are a few who will take this little comedy that I have staged in good part. I should be sorry if my mystification were taken too seriously, or if anyone had been injured by it, but however that may be, ladies and gentlemen, perhaps I ought to end on a rather more serious note. I am here to announce the decease of something which has been very near to the hearts of some of you. The Palladium exists no more. I was the creator of it, and I have destroyed it. You have nothing more to fear from its sinister influence. The great enemy of Christian men and of the Catholic Church is dead.
12 years.
Is that how long the total...
12 years.
He did that for 12 years. He fucking faked everybody out that hard.
Yeah.
He didn't even tell his wife.
Yeah.
And they tell anybody about
There's
it.
some
Hey,
who
a little
say,
bit of pillow talk. He told her.
oh, if only you knew what I was doing. There's some who say that he would and by the way, most of the biography that you've heard for quote unquote Leo Taxil is actually for, do you have his name handy, his real name?
Yes. Marie-Joseph Gabriel Antoine Jogan Paget.
Boom. Yeah.
Say it one more time. Say it again. Say it again.
Marie-Joseph Gabriel Antoine Jogan Paget.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's making me wet.
There's no Leo Taxil. Some say there's no Dr. Bataille or Hacks, that they were also Jogand. And
all
some
constructs,
say,
yeah.
Yeah, and some say the same for Miss Vaughn, that he didn't even have a fucking secretary.
This whole thing is beautiful to me. I love the big fake out, master liar, and some people were saying, he was making money off this shit. I mean, he got paid.
Yeah.
The dude worked angles, like the thing. He wasn't just a troll and doing all this for fun. He got paid.
Yeah,
like he got some money out of this shit.
Oh, he did. Yeah. So basically, after delivering this whole speech, just fucking boom, mic drop. He just stepped off stage, left, went across the street to a bar, ordered himself a coffee and a cognac, and just watched the fucking chaos unfold.
I love that combo.
Could you imagine all the shit that he stirred up, all the strife between the church and the Freemasons?
Oh god!
Oh yes.
All the pontificating that went on from the church about how these say, and then just to find out
He made the church
He
look like
clowned the fucking church so hard.
He fucking fucked the Freemasons.
The
till
Freemasons
today,
are still fucking pissed.
Yeah.
I spent a portion of the afternoon reading and listening to Freemasons bitch about how this is where all the conspiracy started because this fucking asshole saying we worship Satan. Yeah, there's still
in summary, Taxil or Jogand was a trickster and practical joker of the first degree, and his many written diatribes against Satanism were all just merely the foundations of what would become one of the most successful hoaxes in history. His complete literary labyrinth of lies and boisterous bullshit ultimately made complete fools of the church.
I love it.
Yeah, I like the alliteration, too.
Yeah, it's nice.
Made complete fools of the church, as well as forever since muddying the waters of whether or not Freemasonry was indeed secretly interleaked at the highest levels with Satanism, and through one fell swoop essentially fucked them both. In later interviews with American magazines, he claimed that all this started entirely as a joke, as he was certain that accounts of such things as demonic piano-playing alligators and message-writing snakes was all just far too absurd to be believed. Little did he count on predictably gullible stupidity of the masses. After that, he saw that there was simply just a great deal of money to be made in the endeavor, and the rest is, as they say, history. Or is it? It does have a nasty habit of repeating itself.
So yeah, that's where we gotta get into how this still sticks around today. And I'm so glad that you mentioned earlier the protocols of the Elders of Zion, because this is right up there with that.
It is 100%. That's the first thing that popped in my head when I went through all this stuff, because I did not read anything about this until today, honestly. But I did a cram session this afternoon on this topic, Leo Taxil hoax, but I went through. I didn't go through the literature that you sent. I went through where I go, fucking social media, and the conspiracy tards, because that's my angle.
And that's where you're going to get, like, the best how it's.
But I was also linked to several essays through some stuff, and but it did make me think, because these people, especially the Freemasons, they're still very pissed about this, because they have to deal. If you listen to any conspiracy podcast, internet site, read all the old books. If you go into fucking Behold a Pale Horse, the Freemasons are fucking prime fucking juice in there. And they have been living, and them being called Luciferian, Satanic, and it travels into the elites now. That's like all the conspiracy, QAnon, all that shit. It's all Satanic Luciferians. So is what the claims are. Yeah. But it's all based on bullshit. It's like literally and it's the same
bullshit
thing.
That was repeated for 12 years.
But that's the thing. It's been repeated for over 100 years, because this same thing I found on a meme today that is still being used by people. Yeah. The quotes from this, the Albert Pike quotes that Taxil used in some of his stuff, is still being about the Freemasons, is still being used to say that Freemasons are Satanic Luciferians, when the whole thing was admittedly by him. Now, we could go to the angle that he was forced to say that the whole thing was fake.
That the hoax was a hoax.
That the hoax was a hoax.
Because
that's why you could never win in the conspiracy world.
Because people are going to believe what they want to. But yeah, the fact that the whole reason this guy did this, because
he lived the life.
All because he was pissed at the church. The church caused this to come onto themselves.
The church
basically.
And his dad.
Yeah, and his dad. His asshole dad, who was affiliated with the church.
The amount of, he really dug into the character. He had to put in so much fucking effort.
It's dedication.
It's real dedication to the fucking theme there. Yeah. To, really, I'm going to fucking stick it to these fucking assholes.
I just imagine being in front of the Pope during their little audience and being like...
And now I did...
It's masterful.
I did see the fucking with the whole... Yeah, the Catholic thing, but also because the Freemasons were even though any asshole could kind of go and join the fucking Freemasons.
Well, yeah, but especially at that time, Lodge, they were very much high society.
Yeah, they were. That was the fucking club.
The elites.
But he went to them and was what I saw is they said he was rejected. I don't know if that's true or if he quit. He just got there and thought.
Well, yeah,
because he did. He joined them.
He did, and he didn't stay with them very long, and that was.
And was that on his accord or was that on their accord?
Well, see, that's where some of the mystery comes in.
I bet it was his, just long enough to learn some info on it for his story.
If he's that dedicated to fucking, and I don't mean fucking, I mean fucking as in fuck you over so bad that you're fucking ugh, how many times can I say fucking? We got to count that again.
Fuck.
Dog it.
But it's amazing to me. The dedication, this guy's dedication to burn somebody so bad.
Yeah. It's trolling as an art form, almost, I'd say. And you know what? I don't know a lot about the real life. Like, wasn't Q started by like a dude, his dad?
Yeah, 100%. They live in.
But do they believe everything that they're posting, or are they just being assholes? Like,
I bet they did.
I think it's a little bit of that and a little bit of that.
column A, column B.
It's storytelling. It's story. Writing a story.
Well, these guys are complete fucking assholes. But as far as being anti-pedophile, they live in like Thailand.
Well, that's gonna count
for a reason.
Oh,
They're in
my
Thailand
lady
for
boy.
a reason, or it's Thailand, or it's whatever one of those, the sex tourism countries.
Yeah.
I heard an interesting story about Thailand. Apparently, a lot of these women trapped in men's bodies, when they come out to their parents, they actually get an overwhelming amount of support from their family.
No, it's
in a lot of cases.
It's old hat over there, man. They
I
don't
guess
give a
so.
fuck. They don't give a fuck. Anyway, but yes, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. All this.
Yeah, like the level of trolling is an art form, and then just
hats off.
Yeah.
Hats off.
Golf clap.
I mean, best I can do is get on the Hebrew Israelite sites and fucking.
I'm a white man, and
tell
I just wanted to say that the way that I eat black people's souls is usually with a little pepper, some Chianti on the side.
Yeah, I crawled right out of a cave in the Caucasus Mountains just today. Like literally, that is the extent of my trolling, and I usually get bored after a while.
Yeah, like where all the mystery of like, was the hoax a hoax? Like, I think that does have its basis in sort of like what was his relationship with Masonry and why did he leave? Because as we said, some of what you heard, like the biography of Taxil along the way, does overlap with the real guy, Jogand, like Gabriel Jogand, his biography as well. And he did join the Masons, and they did have a split, and he was sore over it. Otherwise, he wouldn't have tried to fuck the Masons over to the degree he did.
Like, this whole story has, like, put me... I'm like... Because I never really... I mean, I guess I'd heard of him, maybe in like, past... Because I don't know, I pull in so much random shit, and I can't... I need to do the big board with the yarn on it, but mine would literally have to be 30 feet long... with a whole lot of fucking string and a whole lot of different attachment points, because
bells and whistles.
I was hitting so many, like, the Jesuits, the Masons, the Catholic Church, the Pope, France. I don't know.
It's like getting plugged into the Matrix. You see everything all at once and you instantly know kung fu.
Dude, that's
whoa.
This is the beginning of... This is fucking wax on, wax off right here with this guy. This is the base level stuff that all of this stuff is branched off into. And with Albert Pike and the attachments to that, there's just so much. It hit all, like, all the, like, little ding, ding, dings.
It's crazy, too, because those were all, like, big, huge names at the time. And they're still big, huge names.
I hear them all the time.
Yeah. And maybe... a lot of that has to do with this hoax, I think. I mean, guys like Albert Pike, you'd still be hearing about them because of their, like, level of involvement in Masonry and whatnot. Taking an idea like this into today and, like, how we have new forms of media, social media, etc., like, I would not be surprised if we find out that maybe something going on now or something, around the corner not too far from now is sort of our generation's version. Yeah.
Pizzagate. Somebody's going to come forward soon.
Yeah.
In fact, I think they might have... I don't know. I want to say there was somebody trying to track down where Pizzagate came from, and they got some kind of leads. I have to do a little more thinking into that.
They might want to come forward a little sooner before anyone else gets fucking shot or fucking up by it.
They only shot a computer, which was convenient. That was real convenient. That the
pedophiles are in the computer.
They're in the computer. But no, this whole I liked it. I might actually have to do a little more.
Had fun doing research on this one.
Yeah, man. I love this story because, man, that just shows, like, you piss somebody off bad enough, if they're creative and they have the willpower and the imagination to fucking and the stick-to-itiveness, then you're gonna regret every fucking thing you've ever done.
I told you last week before I even read any of this shit that I'm going to come up with my own fucking conspiracy to release into the wild that's completely fake, based off of real events, because everything has to be based off of something real. I'm going to release it onto the internet, into the wilds, and see what happens. I want it to become a thing.
Or am I?
No, I'm going to do it.
No, I was giving you some, I'm
going to do it. Nobody's going to know it's me.
It's going to be a true story.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, don't attach your name to it.
Overarching moral of this story is to, don't believe everything you read, without evidence. Like you watch the news and you hear all this horrible shit. If you're not there to see what these people are talking about, what they're doing, there's always a little bit of credibility gap there.
Yeah.
That you got to do your own research. Don't just believe anything just because the guy who told you on TikTok has a good song and you like it. It's like, hey, she's pretty, I'll believe her. Do your own research, people.
Yep.
What I learned,
and consider the source. None of what you read and half of what you see.
With enough spite and true hard work and dedication, you can fuck those people that fucked you.
All through history for years to come.
Forever. It's brilliant. I like it.
Yeah.
The Taxil hoax.
Good story of the Taxil
The
hoax.
Taxil hoax. All right.
So yeah, that's our show for today, or the week, I guess. I think next week, I don't want to reveal too much. We're gonna get a lot closer to the modern day. Try to.
I don't even know what the fuck
We're
he's
gonna live
talking
in
about.
the now next week. Yeah.
I have no idea what he's talking about.
I like to spring it on these guys. Like once we'll be all picking subjects here and there, but I've got my dark.
I don't do the research till like
got
a
his
couple
little
hours
bag of
ahead
tricks
time.
there that he's
we like to keep
upon us.
We like to keep it obscure here and give you some shit that you won't hear anywhere else. So, or at least that's one of the things we try to cater to for you folks. So yeah, this is Kooks, Cranks, and Iconoclasts. I'm Mike.
Wait. I am Chris Wells. Quick.
You got anything to plug?
I'm plugging us.
Oh, okay.
And myself.
Okay. Please plug us.
Plug me, baby.
Within reason.
Yeah. Kooks, Cranks, and Iconoclast podcast on we got a Facebook, we got an Instagram, we got a
Twix.
We got a Twix. Yes.
I will try to and I'll put all the.
We're gonna work hard on putting some more content on there. Do we have a website still? No. All right, we're gonna get a website again soon.
But yeah, I'll try and include the links to all our socials within the show notes to just take you there.
And then
we're only on Spotify now, but we're gonna try and branch out here soon as well on some other platforms.
We'll have our own Angel Fire website before too long.
Yeah.
The green text on the black background with stars.
Everybody, get with me. Follow me. I'm fun.
Chris is basically our social media czar, for lack of a better term. So
I haven't been posting, but I'll post some shit on our page. And then me, Christ ACAB. Follow I do metalworking, knife making, and other fun stuff. ACAB Industries on Facebook, and I think I'm making an Instagram one. And Christ ACAB on Insta, Twix, and Facebook. And and I got a TikTok now to follow all the weird shit. Follow me on there. Maybe I'll make stupid videos. So yes, give us a follow.
I'm Spencer. It's cold out there. Stay warm, everybody. I got a fucking headache. I'll see y'all next week.
Thanks for sticking through with us, man. So yeah, once again, Kooks, Cranks, and Iconoclasts. Tune in next week. We're going to only be getting weirder from here. Thanks, folks. We'll catch you then.
Bye.
Word.